Hey guys, I gotta keep this quick because I'm about to see someone. So I read Deuteronomy 4, and basically, Deuteronomy 4 is basically Moses telling all the Israelites that have just entered into the promised land to keep the statutes and commandments of God, right? And he's telling them how God has done his promise, right? Because he promised the covenant to Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham that they were going to make it into the promised land and become a great generation. Um, so I'm just making sure that the person I'm seeing doesn't show up and see me. Um, yeah, we're good. And basically, again, the promised land, and God's like, okay, now that you're in the promised land, you have to obey me. There are conditions now. So the promise is unconditional, right? The promise of them getting to the promised land, becoming a great nation, multiplying and changing the world is an unconditional promise. That's why the Israelites, even though they fail, they make it in, right? Now, now that they're in, Moses is basically telling them like, hey, now you guys have some conditions now. Don't make idols. Don't fall into idolatry, right? Remember what God has done. Tell your children and your grandchildren about it, right? And he's basically giving them all these steps to obey, right? Saying like, if they don't obey, there's going to be penalties. If you obey, there will be blessings, and you can. I mean, I don't know if he specific says in here, but you could stay in the promised land, right? Basically, there's just conditions now, and it's interesting, right? It's like the part that sticks out to me the most is like remembering God. You have to remember God. You have to learn the lessons he tells you and then remember them. And you can do this by writing it down. Being in God's word really helps a ton. And that's the part that sticks out to me is like remembering what God has done for you and his promise, and that he fulfilled his end, right? So you can trust him and that he's faithful, right? And something I need to get better at for sure is remembering God's word. I've been trying to memorize a verse a day, which is not going that great, but we're gonna get better at it. Um, and and The more you can remember, the more it gets written on your heart, and then the easier it is for you to obey when God helps you reach those promises. And I just find that very fascinating. But other than that, that's really all I'm going to be doing today because I'm going to be gone and doing stuff with someone. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. You learned something from this, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Deuteronomy 5. Peace.